Look at him, eating whatever he wants, never gaining a pound. While I'm stuck with the boring special and can't lose an ounce.
How's your lunch, man?
Amazing. Yours?
So good.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Cool, buddy.
Weight loss isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that can fix your frustration with food.
So, same time next week?
No!
Definitely.
And your friends. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
With CarGurus Discover, you can skip the filters and describe what you're looking for in your own words. Simply type what you want, and CarGurus Discover instantly surfaces real listings that match your exact needs. It's no wonder CarGurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site according to SimilarWeb's estimated traffic data. Buy or sell your next car today with CarGurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com.
Trojan family, what's going on? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. One of my favorite times of the offseason, the NFL Combine, is quickly approaching. Takes place February 23rd to March 2nd in the great city of Indianapolis in Indiana. It's one of my favorite events to attend. I'm so happy that they're not moving the event. They've talked about moving to other cities, kind of doing like the NFL draft, if you will, where they rotate every year, but they've just re-signed some contracts. I don't know how long it will go for, but at least for the foreseeable future, it will remain as it always has in Indianapolis. I just think Indy's a cool city. If you've never been, I think it's a really underrated city. It's like smack dab in the middle of the U.S., so not easy to get to, oddly enough, considering that from L.A. there's like no direct flights. Like every single flight from LA is a connecting flight, which is very bizarre and frustrating, but it's a cool city. Very walkable. The way they designed it is it's a rather large downtown area, but it feels small. You can get everywhere quickly. The event is at Lucas Oil Stadium, which I think is one of the most underrated football stadiums in America. They've got great eateries, obviously the famous St. Elmo's, which I have been to now a couple times, with their great steaks and their fantastic shrimp cocktail. The people watching and networking of all the who's who. You're talking about all the scouts, the GMs, the coaches, everyone just bumping shoulders at the Slippery Noodle, which is the oldest bar in Indianapolis. It's a great time. So we'll see if I make it out again this year. I'd love to, obviously, with an infant. Would hate to leave the wife alone for that long, a couple days. But anyway, that's not here nor there. Sorry, I know many of you hate when I tell stories or whatever and not just get to the info, but 7 USC Trojans will be at the Combine. One of their biggest numbers we've seen in recent years. This is trending good, right? If we want to see USC back to where they need to be, they've also got to be producing top-end talent for the NFL. Like when you look at Michigan after their national championship in 23, like they had a record-setting first-round picks. When you look at Ohio State last year winning the Natty, they had an amazing amount of talent in the first and second round. When you look at this year at Indiana and Miami and some of the other schools that were in the playoff, there's going to be a lot of those players for those teams drafted in the first and second round. The USC Trojans, outside of Caleb Williams, haven't had like a lot of dominant players. Now they've had some gems obviously go in the middle rounds, and guys of late that we've seen end up having a really high impact in the NFL, specifically defensively, ironically enough. But in order for them to be where they need to be collegiately, they've got to be really healthy at putting top-end talent into the NFL. And this is the start of that. 7 players at the Combine. And then we should start seeing some of those trench players in the coming years, which I think will really tell the story of where this program's at. But the 7 attending, which is one of the higher numbers in the Combine, you have, obviously, Makai Lemon will be there. Wide receiver Jacoby Lane. So both Makai Lemon and Lane. Makai Lemon, if he's not the first receiver taken, which obviously I think he should be, but he will still be a top 15 pick. Just depends if someone likes Carnell Tate better, or the kid from, I think, Arizona State is regarded pretty high up there. If teams maybe like that better, but Makai Lemon will be in the top half of the first round. Jacoby Lane will be at the Combine. His draft stock, I think, is kind of not all over the place, but, I've seen some very back into the first round. I've seen some top into the third round. So there's a chance he goes on day 1. There's a chance he waits till kind of the end of day 2, but he will certainly go in the first 2 days and will be kind of that high upside guy that they maybe didn't have the elite production and some injury history, but the ceiling is through the roof for the guy like Jacoby Lane, and I think he can only elevate his stock at the combine. There's some guys that go to the combine that their draft stock is really not going to change no matter what happens, unless they absolutely bomb interviews and are just terrible behind closed doors. But there's some guys I think that can really actually elevate based on the field drills and based on off the field stuff. I think Jacoby Lane already did that at the Senior Bowl, and I think he can do that even more at the combine. The last offensive player is tight end Lake McRee. I've talked a lot about Lake McRee's prospects. I think he's similar to like a Dalton Schultz kind of player. Has that same size and profile in that regard. A guy that's not going to wow you on the measurables, not going to wow you as one of those off-the-charts athlete, but just does everything well. He's a good blocker. He's a good route runner. He's got good hands. He's got good size. So he's going to be one of those late, 5th, 6th round draft picks most likely. It's going to make a team happy. It's going to make a roster somewhere and probably surprise some people and can eventually be in the NFL where he averages like 300 yards a season and carves it out a nice little NFL career. So he can also elevate his draft stock. On the defensive side, linebacker Eric Gentry. This is obviously the biggest wild card for USC in terms of draft position. Some team could take a flyer and just say this is a freak athlete that has this odd size, this immense height, but really thin and not a lot of weight, but can kind of play that pseudo nickel, that safety backer hybrid, if you will. So it'll be really interesting to see what he even does at the combine. That's what I'll be interested to see is where they kind of group him. Obviously he's a linebacker, but will he do some things with the safeties? Will he do purely linebacker drills? I think that'll be kind of interesting to see how he does. I think he did have a solid Shrine Bowl where I think he showed up. He was kind of the talk of the Shrine Bowl, actually, if you will. So can only elevate his name maybe even further at the combine in Indy. Safety, Bishop Fitzgerald, All-American. Great season with the Trojans, coming off the injury, did participate in the Shrine Bowl. We'll see how he can continue to elevate his game at the combine. Edge, Anthony Lucas, another player with just immense talent. We know him well. I don't think he quite lived up to what everyone hoped he would when he transferred from Texas A&M. He's got great measurables. He's got great size, got great bend and speed off the edge. Whether it was schematically or whatever, just didn't seem to quite have that breakout season ever with USC. Now with Danton Lynn's system, you're not asking your edges to just pin their ears back and rush the quarterback on every play. So schematically, it may have just hidden his at least pass rushing ability a little bit as he was more confined to setting the edge and containing the edge in his role. So it will be fun to see kind of how he continues to elevate his draft stock throughout this process. And finally, safety, Kamari Ramsey. And this is another really interesting one because this is a guy that last year, had he gone into the draft, he could have, probably not, but could have been a back-end first-round pick. He could have been the first safety taken last year. He would have probably most certainly been a second-round pick. Now this past season, kind of gets out of position, forced to play more nickel because of injuries and just the lack of talent they had at that position this season. He gets injured late in the year. So what will that do with his draft stock? Like I've heard some people say, man, that really killed his stock because he didn't get to just play his true position of safety and he gets injured. I've heard other people say, I think it helped his draft stock because it shows not only his versatility, that he can play kind of anywhere on that back end a la Derwin James, but it also shows his character as a player, as a team first guy. People can say all they want, like, oh, you hurt your talent stock, but like scouts and GMs notice that. Like, hey, this is a team guy. This is not a headache. This is a guy that wherever we want him to play, we can put him there and he will excel. And he's not going to fight us on it. He's not going to battle us on it. He just wants to help his team win. So I've seen both sides. I don't think it's going to hurt regardless. I think he'll still be in that second round area. It's not like he's going to drop to the 6th round. I think he'll still be one of the top defensive backs taken. just because the upside is so great. So it'll be fun to see, though, how he does in this combine and elevates that. So there's your 7 players at the combine this year. Any of you guys going? Let me know. If any of you guys are making the trip to Indy, live close in the Midwest, would love to meet up with anyone. If I do make the trip, we'll see. I'll be kind of a game time decision. But hey, if you do go, St. Elmo's, absolutely worth it. I don't care what anyone says. It's overhyped. It's worth it. Just for the people you see. It's like 3 levels, massive, the history there. I mean, any time you go, you're going to be sitting next to GMs, agents, scouts, players. So the people watching alone is awesome. The steak is good. The shrimp cocktail is phenomenal. So absolutely worth it. And then the other recommendation I'd say is the Slippery Noodle, oldest bar in Indianapolis. Any evening you go, you'll be hanging out with NFL personnel. I remember we were there one night, me and my guy Skinny T, who does our Rams show, and Mark Brunell was there, Detroit Lions quarterbacks coach, former quarterback in the NFL for Jacksonville. Kevin Stefanski was there. You go down the list, and then obviously all the media people. So it's a great time. I think it's one of those events that I actually like better than the draft, just because it's not as mainstream yet. Like, it's become more of a spectacle now, but it's still way lower tier than the draft. The draft is a zoo now anywhere you go. The combine is still much more low key, and it's more like industry people with some fans mingling hereabouts. So if you can make it, I recommend it. But 7 Trojans representing at the combine should be great. I'll have coverage of it regardless if I'm there or not. So I will certainly let you guys know how they did and what the draft propositions look like. We'll see how that goes. I don't really know what else draft content-wise you guys are looking for, so I won't do as much of that. Obviously, we're focused on the current USC team and the future USC team with recruiting. But I do like to at least highlight some of the players that are now moving on to the next level. So should be a good time out in Indy. But appreciate y'all. Hit that like and subscribe. Back with plenty more USC content here later today. As always, family, fight on. Hey, Trojan family, Ryan Dyrud here from the USC LAFB show, and I've got to tell you about a brand new feature by our friends at Sleeper. Hopefully you've been using Sleeper all this time, but if not, you've got to go download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, and they've just added a brand new feature, which is so much fun. So on top of the great DFS feature, which, if you don't know, pick any player across any sport. You choose 2 to 8. Just choose more or less. You can stack, like I said, 2 to 8 players and win some real money potentially. So, you pick more or less yards, more or less touchdowns, more or less points, whatever it might be, whatever sport vertical you use. That's the DFS feature. But now they just launched the team pick feature. So now it's as simple as picking which team you think will win each game. So football season now over, obviously. Unfortunately, we got a long wait ahead of us. Don't worry, we got you covered here at USC LAFB for all your USC needs. But you can still go and choose the Lakers whenever game they're playing. You can choose the LA Kings. Any sport vertical still playing. Baseball, just around the corner. Dodgers, World Series champions, going for the three-peat. Yeah, once that season kicks off, or I guess that's the wrong word to use, but once that season gets going, you can now choose the Dodgers in their game, whichever team you think will win. So go to the Sleeper app. Download it today. In the tabs, you can toggle between players or teams when you're on the picks tab. It's that easy to find. And today, if you're a first-time user, so if you haven't downloaded it yet, I don't know what you're doing if you watch this show, but go download the Sleeper app today and you get a free $20 entry for picks, whether that's team picks or player picks. Make sure to use our promo code USCLAFB. So no deposit required to get this free $20 entry, but when you use that promo code USCLAFB, you're going to get a free match bonus up to $100. So you put in $100 in your deposit, they're going to give you a free $100. You put in $20, they'll give you $20 free to play with. So you're doubling your deposit right off the bat, plus the free $20. What more could you ask for? Sleeper app today. Use the promo code USCLAFB and tell them Ryan over at the USC LAFB sent you.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.